software and parallel processing hardware. In single pass software are functions of the firewall, software related functions are of the firewall will go in one way, one pass. One policy is required to pass all the functions. And in parallel processing hardware, it is designed such a way that it will help single pass software to operate quickly, operate properly, right? So that is system. And in flow logic, we have to have few steps where we have slow path, fast path. First of all, we start the ingress interface, slow path, fast path, and uh, and then we will start from applications, SSL decryption, and then forwarding will come up. Let me just show you a bit. We had discussed it yesterday. So we have ingress interface, we have slow path. After ingress interface, we have slow path, we have fast path, we have content ID, we have app ID inspection, we have application ID inspection, we can forward instead, in which we will have all the external interface information, external zone information. And in slow path, we have discussed, we will have session. We do not have session, we have to create it from the beginning, and we have to go through the packet from the beginning. We should have all the information related to packet in our connection table. In fastpath, we already have the connection table, so we do not have to go through everything from the beginning. So we can bypass the steps which are there in slow path. So you can memorize in such a way. So you have an idea that in slow path what we have net policies, we have user ID lookup, we have forwarding lookup, we have security policy lookup in slow path. If it is not the first time traffic you are going to initiate, then in fast path you have net translation, you have application identification, you have content ID inspection, SSL decryption. Let's go with what we have to discuss today is initial configuration. Initial system access. Initial configuration we will discuss today. Initial access to the system we will discuss tomorrow, because we have to have few more things. I think I'll go with your idea. I'll show some before going to your idea. I'll show from my side. I'll show the steps. I'll show my lab configuration only. Then I'll go with your configuration, which is configured for your company, right? So
Okay.
that will help you to understand your company environment.
Okay.
I'll go with initial configuration today only, so that you will have an idea about the firewall configuration initially, how it is configured properly.
Okay.
So this is PA450 firewall. Let me just show. This is PA450 firewall, right? So what do you have firewall? How will you configure it? You just need to have, there is a two ways actually to configure. Either you can access it through management port. This is management port. You can just add the Ethernet cable one side from RJ45 to your laptop, and then you can connect directly with the cable and access by the laptop. And second is SSH. It is by default enabled when you purchase your Palo Alto firewall. You can just console cable here and then one end to the laptop, and then you can do the open putty and add your IP address directly and open it. Right? These two will help you to configure from the basic.
So Palo Alto is like it has very limited interfaces, like physical interfaces, right?
No, it is not. Yeah, it is not like that. It is for PA450. It is very basic. Yeah.
Oh, this
So
is
it
like
depends
small.
on the model. Yeah.
Yeah,
This
but
is
I mean, usually in the you can You only like plug in switches and routers, like you said yesterday, right? So
Yep.
it's not like a switch where it can take a lot of like it has 48 ports, not like that.
Right.
Okay.
Right, and it can connect to the switch and it can have multiple ports. What we can do also, we can create a sub interface from the one interface, right?
Oh, okay.
So we have connected the interface, we have created the interface from this. So we
Mhm,
have created the sub interface also, right? Here
mhm,
we can create the sub interface. One,
mhm,
two, three, four, right?
mhm,
As per your requirement, you can create the sub interface from a single physical interface,
mhm.
right?
Okay.
You already use these ports available, right? So you can, after using this port, you can have the connectivity of firewall. Either you can configure it from management port, I mean GUI, either
Mhm,
you can configure from PuTTY CLI,
mhm.
right? We will
Okay.
keep on discussing. Let me just go ahead. So initial access to the firewall, let's just take this example. This is console port.
Mhm,
This is console port. You have to plug, I mean, whatever the serial console cable you have at your available at your place, you can use that cable. And suppose you are in data center, then you have to configure it. You can bring your laptop to the data center and connect the cable, serial console connection, um, to the port, and then one end of the cable to the laptop. Then you can have PuTTY, and then
okay.
in PuTTY you can have, we have default IP address of the Palo Alto firewall, which is 192.168.1.1. You can directly add it in the PuTTY. So what I will suggest you, suggest like better way, in a better way, you can use management port to configure. So management port, after connecting to a management port, what I will have, we will have the GUI. GUI will look like this, right? So
Yes.
GUI, you can configure it properly without
Mhm,
any issues. Right? PuTTY, you
mhm,
might have some issues while configuring. Either it is related to commands, either it is related to some other accesses, either you have or not in your laptop or data center. So
mhm,
best part is to connect with management port. One cable you will connect to the management port and other one to the laptop. It will just give you access of 192.168. You can enter it in the browser.
mhm.
Yeah, so then once you will enter into the browser, you can just enter admin in the password. So admin in the username, also admin in the password as well. So you will have this factory default
Mm,
single administrator account,
mm, okay.
right? So you will have the access and you will be able to see the administration,
Mhm,
right,
okay.
properly without any issue. So either which ways you can configure. It is physically deployed in data center, so you can have this IP and manage for management port, management IP, and for, I mean, virtual machines, you have to configure management port as a DSCP
Mhm.
for virtual machines, VM series devices.
Management port is configured as DHCP client.
Yeah,
The
it is static
manager.
by
Oh,
default for physical devices.
I'm sorry, I didn't get. Okay, hold on. So the
Yep.
management port has a factory default IP address of 192.168.1.1. Okay, and series MGT port is configured as a DHCP client.
DSCP client.
What
So
does that mean?
it means you have installed your firewall. I mean, you have
Mm-hmm.
installed a VM of your firewall in VMware, right?
Oh,
VM series
VMware.
of your firewall. VM series
Okay.
firewall we had discussed yesterday, right? We have VM
Oh,
firewall and we have
uh-huh.
physical firewalls, right? We have
Okay.
hardware firewalls, we have VM firewalls. If you are
Okay.
using if you are using these firewalls, then you
Mm-hmm.
have the management as a DSCP. It will automatically detect the IP for management. It will not have
Oh,
192.168. It will have the IP from your virtual machine. It will take IP from your virtual machine as a DSCP IP, any of the IP which will be available,
okay. Okay.
right? Because you are not configuring directly. It will automatically pop up with the management IP. You can check it. While I'll show you. I'll show you that, right?
Okay. Got it. Okay.
I do have a virtual machine. I'll
Mm-hmm.
show you in the section itself.
Okay.
For it now, we can go forward. So we are talking about here. So you know, right, this point now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So
So
actually,
I have a question for you.
yep.
So if you are hosting your firewall as a VM,
Hmm.
so you're only like any, for example, let's say Linux server or Windows server, you can use a VM of Linux server and install Palo Alto in there as a software, and it works the same way.
I'm not installing Linux server. It is depend on you. Like, let me show you first. That will clear your confusion. Let me
Mm-hmm.
just go in virtual machine. I have installed this VMware in my machine, virtual VMware Workstation Pro from the Google, like, so I downloaded it from there, and I have
Yeah.
installed this the 9.10.0 version of Firewall. It is VM is 9.0. We can just say that. Say like that. The VM 9.0. VM ECX is the model, and VM 9.0 is the version, right?
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
if I open it, resume the virtual machine. So
Mm-hmm.
this will open like this. I'll install this version directly. I'll just go it and new virtual machine. New virtual machine. I'll click here, and then the option is the software is available in my laptop. I have installed it from there because I have already downloaded from internet. So I have installed it from there. And this is restoring virtual machine.
Okay, I see what you mean. Okay, okay. So you are installing the hardware as a VM.
Yep. I'm installing the
Ah.
software as a VM.
Mm-hmm.
Software downloaded by the Google, right? So I have downloaded from Google this version of VM. So VM series firewall. These are the VM series firewall. I can configure anything if it is free,
Mm,
right? You know,
okay.
30 days of licenses are free. I'll install that also. Right
Mm-hmm.
now I have installed this only.
Mm-hmm.
So this is restoring the every core and kernel of the software. So
Mm-hmm.
I do not have physical firewall. I have this software. So you
Mm-hmm.
can see that, right? You can see. I was just wanted to let you
Mm-hmm.
know this. This is new IP. You
Mm-hmm.
can see, right?
Yeah.
Here,
Yeah.
new
Okay.
IP
Mm-hmm.
and mask. It has been given to me by the DSCP because it is virtual firewall. It
Mm-hmm.
has given to me by the DSCP. It is not
Mm.
default, right?
Yes, yes.
192.168,
Yeah.
19 to 1.
Exactly. Yeah.
If I am using hardware firewall, it will be default 192.168, 1.1,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
right?
Okay.
Let's just reload it. Okay, we are good till here. Let me just go forward. So after all this, we can access the firewall using four ways.
Okay.
One is wave interface.
Mm-hmm.
Wave interface, you know, GUI, right? We
Yes.
can have directly connected to management port by entering 192.168.1.1. We can connect using GUI. And the second is console CLI, right?
Yes.
We can using PuTTY. We can directly connect it to console port,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can use PuTTY and
Mm-hmm.
enter 192.168 for a hardware firewall, and then can connect to the Palo Alto using command
Mm-hmm.
line.
Mm-hmm.
And third way is Panorama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have multiple firewalls, then we
Mm-hmm.
need to access the firewall. From one firewall, we can also access it through Panorama. We can just go through this. A lot of firewall will be configured in this tab. We can select any one of it and then
Mm-hmm.
go to the firewall directly from
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Panorama.
Okay.
And this is Rext XML API.
Mm-hmm.
You might have seen somewhere like we are exporting configuration, then importing. While exporting configuration, we can change it. We can change in between and then import it to the firewall somewhere, a blank firewall, and then configure it.
Mm, okay.
We can edit it. We need to edit. It is just HTML or CSS page where we need to have lot of configuration because we have exported from somewhere from the firewall which has been decommissioned. Now we have to install that configuration to the new firewall which is blank, which is completely default. So I'll just open this file which is there from export. I'll add it whatever the configuration I need to add, and then we'll import the firewall. So this is mainly for the coder, the automator, automation engineer who actually create codes, and most of the time they only use it. We only use it web interface as such CLI command using putty we and Panorama. Most of the time
Mm-hmm.
Panorama now we have a lot of firewalls in the environment. We have to use Panorama for in production environment,
Mm-hmm.
right?
So I have
So
a question,
yeah, yeah,
Vincent.
yeah.
So say for example, you're looking for a firewall rule.
Mhm.
Do you like you wanna search for it, or like say an IP address? You want like when you search for it,
Mhm.
you have to go to in Panorama. There is not one place where you search and it will tell you which firewall
Yeah,
it
right.
has it. You have to go to each firewall, right?
No, no. Let me tell you, if
Mm,
it depends on either you are using Panorama, you are using individual firewall. First, if you
mm,
are using individual firewall, you can search the IP address in the traffic logs,
mm-hmm.
right?
Okay, okay.
Uh, you can use the source IP or destination IP of the particular user from the particular user, and you can search that in the traffic logs. You can see
Mm-hmm.
the security policy configured for the same. And second way, if you are using, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
So if
message
second,
sometimes comes for no reason. It
yeah.
happens to me too. Uh-huh, go ahead.
So if second way is Panorama, if you have multiple firewalls, as you said, and you do not know which firewall we need to check, we can check in Panorama traffic logs here, and then it will show
Mm,
you the logs and security policy configured. It will check for all the firewalls for
mm-hmm.
the particular source IP and destination IP. And it will,
Okay.
yeah, it
Mm,
will be visible in the traffic logs which security policy is being applied, and also using the security policy, copy the security policy, and you can find there is an option of global search here. You can find
mm-hmm.
it there using the
Mm,
security policy, and you can know the firewall. And if you
mm-hmm.
still want to troubleshoot, you can go to the via searching global search, you can go to the individual firewall and then
Mm-hmm.
log in and check everything.
Got it. Okay, got it.
Right?
Okay, makes sense. Yes. Thank you.
No problem. For we basic lab diagram is this is your management laptop
Mm-hmm.
connecting to the management port. When you
Mm-hmm.
have new firewall configuration, you have this configuration will be there. You only need to have laptop to connect to the management port of your firewall. Once you will be connected, once you will be connected, you will have access and you will configure everything related to basic basic configuration like management port configuration. There is a lot of amount of management port configuration. If you want to configure it properly, I'll share.
Mm-hmm.
So management port configuration, we have externally we have to provide the services to the management port. So let me
Mm-hmm.
show you here. So once you will be connected to management port, you will have this web interface. You will have all the information. Either it is dashboard, ACC, monitor, policies, object, network, devices. So you will have all the information, right? So once you have this page open, it will show you not secure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
it is common because we are not configured. We haven't configured anything in the firewall yet. We have to configure the certificates. We have to configure the management port services. Only then it will be removed from here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
Right?
question here.
Yep.
So when you enable certificate, it is to secure the connection between, like, say, the browser and
Yes. Yes, your
Palo
browser
Alto.
certificates. Yep, right, that's true.
Okay.
Your browser
S-
certificate
mm,
should be there. Your browser certificate, your client certificate should be there to the server. Server is Palo Alto for you. So your once the server certificate is there, you are accessing this URL. This URL have some certificates, right? Every other
mhm.
URL have some certificate. That certificate should be there in Palo Alto configuration. So we'll talking about it later. For now, you can just keep that in mind. It is not secure just because we haven't have any configuration of the firewall.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Any question?
No, that's good.
Yeah. So I told you, right? We do have a lot of configuration in management only. Before going to any other troubleshooting, I mean any other configuration, we need to have management configured properly. We need to configure management by going to the device with device
Mm-hmm.
setup
Mm-hmm.
interfaces setup, then management operation. You can
Mm-hmm.
see my mouse, right?
Yeah,
Management.
are you gonna share this with me? This stuff?
Yeah,
What,
yeah,
like,
obviously.
okay,
Obviously today
okay.
itself. Actually, I'm using. I told you yesterday also. Like I was using PPTs earlier. Now I am creating this for you, and I'll be
Oh,
sharing. It is
thank
just
you.
started. Yeah,
Very nice. Thank you so much. Because this, if I have the like all the screenshots, it will help a lot.
yeah. It will just revise you like as we are going discussing in the train session. It will help you to
Okay.
revise and will. Yeah, I'll share definitely. But I'm creating it for you right
Okay.
now.
Okay. Sounds
Once
good.
it is ended.
No, take your time. No rush, as
Yeah,
long as I have it eventually, it's okay. I mean, I just
yeah,
want to have it for my own,
yeah.
um, yeah.
You are in training, you can have any time. Like so,
Okay.
once the training will be ended, you will have every session notes,
Thank you. Thank
service,
you. Mm-hmm.
management, operation, service,
Mm-hmm.
and then interfaces. This is management interface.
Okay.
We are not going to configure this management interface in the actual interfaces which are
Mm.
there in the network.
Mm. So
This is separately configured.
is this where you change the IP address, for example, of the management console and stuff?
That's true. That's true.
Okay.
So if you want to keep it static, you can keep it here. I told you, right? If you want to
Mm.
keep it static in virtual machines, what happens? In virtual machines, what happens? This is DS automatically taking IP address for the
Yeah.
management, right? So you
Yes.
can also make it static,
Mm-hmm.
right? Once you log in, it is by default, it is not a default IP address in virtual machines. Well, you can log into the whatever the IP address the virtual machine has been given to you, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you can log into the management, then you can keep it static, whatever the IP address you want to provide as a management interface.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Mm-hmm.
keep it static here. So DSCP client, if you want to keep DSCP client also for hardware firewalls, you can make it DSCP client. It will pop up. So if you are going to keep it as a DSCP client, you have different configuration. You have options. You have pool to provide pool so that one IP can be selected if you are
Mm-hmm.
going to select DSCP client.
Okay.
Okay. So these are the configuration we need to configure. For that also, we have a lot of configuration. This is just an interface configuration, management profile configuration. We have to select what we need to open on a management port. We need to open SSH and HTTP. HTTP for your browser, SSH for your PuTTY, right? So it is by default open. You can also open ping. Ping just to identify if the internet is provided to the management interface or not. These three things needs to be enabled every time for
Mm-hmm.
management interface only,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that you just need to be sure we are changing any which ways we are changing this thing from management, but we need to also check cross verify that it is enabled. It is not enabled. Ping is not enabled by default. We need to enable it.
Okay.
Okay. You can also change the management IP address from CLI. You can have this commands. So once you log into the PuTTY using console port, you can change the management. Configure. This is basic command to get into the configuration. And then this is the actual command. Set device config system IP address.
Mm-hmm.
Only this is the actual configuration. Then we need to provide the IP address, net mask, and gateway. If you want to configure DNS setting server primary, also you configure.
Okay.
Otherwise, our command will be ending here to configure management interface. Right? Got it?
Yes.
This is important just because to have, if you are not having option to connect with management port, then you can directly connect to the CLI using console cable and console port. Then you can change the IP address. Once you know the management IP address, you can open it through GUI, your browser, right? This should be basically known to everyone who is configuring firewall from the scratch. We are good till now, right?
Yes.
Any questions?
No, so this is good.
Mhm. I do have everything here. Whatever we have discussed, we have here. It is directly from Palo Alto, so you can have good idea about it. So it is very basic steps, very basic steps. We have already. If you yeah, this is what if you want to configure different admin than admin, you can also